What's up, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to 305 Radio, a part of 305 Magazine on your number one underground station, MiamiUndergroundRadio.com. I'm your girl, Dre Mauve, and you can catch me on the gram at 305_Brownie.
What up, Brownie? This is George Struck, 305 Magazine, at 305 Magazine on the gram and every social media. But it's not about me tonight. It's not about anything else. It's about the legends that we got in the house.
Right. True legends. Thank you so much for joining us.
These guys could tell us about hip hop today. Grandmaster Kaz.
Grandmaster.
Peace.
Grandmaster.
And Mr. Fabel. Thank you very much for coming out. I mean, you guys are legends in your own right. I mean, you guys have been around since the get. Please introduce yourselves. Tell me a little bit about yourselves and let's get this going, man. I wish I had more than an hour.
I'm recognized as the grandest of them all, even your mama for Grandmaster Kaz. I mean, hip-hop is basically my DNA. You know what I mean? I live this culture. I don't play with it. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't take it lightly. I live it. I'm dead serious about it. And that's why we down here, man, to celebrate our culture and to pass it on to the youth.
Peace. Jorge Pavon, otherwise known as Podmaster Fabel, so we share the same name, George.
Fabel.
Yep. So thank you, Brownie and George, for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Miami Underground Radio. Thank you, Brimstone, for bringing us in to work with, Path. And what can I say?
We here, baby.
It's been one hell of a journey, and we rocking on till the break of dawn and beyond.
That's what's up, man. Now, I mean, let's talk about this journey. How did all of this start with you, man? Like, how did you get into hip hop? What brought you in?
I mean, it wasn't even hip hop yet. I mean, it was just parties, block parties, and house parties, and I guess the dance really got me in. I mean, the beats that were being celebrated at these local parties, you know what I mean, created the dance, that we now know as breakdancing. And that's, I think, was the first thing that really got me involved in the culture. And this is back in 1974. You know what I mean? It was a DJ named Kool Herc, who was recognized as the father of hip-hop to us in the Boogie Down Bronx, who I lived in the neighborhood, so I caught it as a kid.
You were born in the Bronx.
I was born and raised in the Bronx, yeah. But at the time, in 1973, when the first documented hip-hop party was given, I lived down the block. So I didn't go to the party. I was a kid, but
you heard all about it.
Exactly, and I caught the wave when it first started. So I've been a staunch follower, advocate, leader in the culture ever since.
Well, you're actually a board member of a very special organization. Can you touch base on that?
A few of them. I'm a board member of the
The Universal Federation of Preservation?
The Universal Federation for the Preservation of Hip Hop Culture is like an offshoot of the early Zulu Nation council that we had going on, and we were trying to unite the hip hop aspect into a coalition, which is, I mean, to this day, one of the hardest things to try to do, to try to bring our people together under one flag and one umbrella. I'm currently on the board at the of course, Cornell University hip-hop collection, the Bronx Music Heritage Center, D.C., what's the one in D.C.? The Kennedy Center. I'm on the board of the council out there. And so I sit on several of these boards that they're all about the preservation of our culture. And Windows of Hip Hop, of course, as well. So Yeah, the first one that you mentioned is now kind of defunct, I guess you could say. But those other institutions are, they loom large in the culture right now, and I'm honored to be a part of those boards and to sit and to have a say so in the decision making and helping hip hop move forward.
Well, you're definitely a legend, and I mean, to most of the artists that we have in my generation that we look up to, they look up to you. And they've mentioned this in many, many different interviews and different instances. So we thank you for being a pioneer in hip-hop and the fact that you are doing so much to be able to preserve this culture so that we can continue passing this on generation through generation.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you.
Stovin, Podmaster Fabel, how'd you get into this, man? What got you popping? What got you into breaking, bro?
Well, I'm not a breaker, I don't break, I pop and I lock and I rock, I'm rocking. So for me, it started with rocking because a gang in my neighborhood did it. The gang on my block, the Savage Samurais in Spanish Harlem. I'm not from the Bronx, I'm from Spanish Harlem. They did that, that sweet stuff, up rocking, fancy foot and but they were outlaws, so they did what we call outlaw rock. So I tried to imitate that. I was young. Then I saw B-boys starting to break in my neighborhood around 77. A group called the Floormaster Tops. My dear brother, who is recently deceased, Zip, was the leader of that crew. Before him, it was E-Man and Ski Jump, the older guys, and they started probably earlier than him. They battled them for the name, and they took the name, Floormaster Tops. So then my twin brother, Pete, and I, we tried to break then. First, we tried to rock, watching the Samurais. And we tried to break, watching the Floormaster Tops and the Baby Kings. And then I got into writing, because the Savage Samurais were also into writing. When they were gang busting, because we never called it gang banging in New York. That's a West Coast thing, gang banging. And on the East Coast, gang banging meant a whole different thing. That
We won't get into that.
All right.
That's a whole different show.
That I don't care to talk about, right? So the chiquitings, the younger guys of the old gangbusters, the old timers, they and mind you, that even the older guys were 17, 18. So the little guys were like 11, 12, our age. The first B-boys I saw breaking were around that age, so they were like the Baby Samurais, So, and the thing is, the Savage Samurais were also into tagging, and when they tagged, they wrote Soul Riders Incorporated. So they had a dual identity. They were a notorious gang, one of the biggest gangs in Spanish Harlem. Anyone who lived there knows. Before them, it was the Satan Spades and Eddie Pelou. And Eddie Pelou even gave the Black Spades hell. When Lava 1 and 2, Straight Man, tried to start a chapter in Spanish Harlem, Eddie Pelou gave him hell. So Spanish Harlem was on and popping and live, just like the Bronx. Nothing different. Renegades of Harlem, the Satan Spades, the Spanish Kings, the Viceroys, which actually was a gang from the 50s. First Puerto Rican gangs, they used to fight the Italians. The what were they called? The Red Wings.
Yeah.
And on Pleasant Avenue. So the same way I was inspired by the Savage Samurais with the rocking, I was inspired by their tagging, and part of the legends we had in our neighborhood. And I ran from there. And then it wasn't until like 80, 81 that I saw cats doing what was really popping, but we called it Electric Boogie.
Okay.
And then Wiggles and we jumped into that because I went to high school with Mr. Wiggles. He was my first graffiti partner, so-called graffiti, because now we make thousands off of that. Graffiti technically is vandalism, if you look at the definition. So I have my own definition. I call it urban stylized lettering.
Word.
We need to define ourselves, Because now if I'm, I had a gig with Calvin Klein, and I did the artwork for one of their products, one of their fragrances called CK One Shock Street Edition. So my work on that, and they paid me lovely, is that graffiti?
That's questionable, yeah.
Right. So for me, it's urban stylized lettering. It's recycled hieroglyphics.
Amen.
That works.
Us. us continuing the same vibe and energy that our ancestors gave us to, that we inherited from our ancestors.
I mean, that is amazing, man. I mean, from where it all started to where it is now, I mean, it's a whole different world. Technology has put it around the world, and you guys are here in Miami, all the way from the Bronx, from Harlem, from New York, and you've gone around the world practically, right? Now,
pretty much.
You're here in Miami. What's the work that you're doing here in Miami now? What is it you're working on now here in Miami with Pat?
With the youth, man, these guys really have a great program going on, and this is the 10th anniversary, and we're here to help these kids put on a show, man, and to show what they've learned, in the program, throughout the program, and to help encourage them and sort of critique them, but, you know what I mean, not really, just to encourage them and support them, man, and let them know that this generation appreciates the next generations coming up. And, and we hear that there is guidance. There is somebody people who really live this culture that are still around, and you can still get lessons from them. You know what I mean? And this is what my man Brimstone and his wife Natalie have provided for these kids, the opportunity to get with legends. You know what I mean, and have them there with them. So that's important for us, for me especially. You know what I mean, because we work with the kids up back home. Fabel does the same thing. Teaches at NYU. I got an organization called Windows of Hip Hop where we go into schools. We've created a hip hop curriculum. You know what I mean, for kids. So the first part of your life is about getting it, you know what I mean, gathering things. And I think the second part of your life is about giving them back or passing them back down. So that's where we are in our lives right now, about passing those gifts back out.
That is amazing. I mean, what's been one of your prized reactions or one of these moments while teaching hip hop to the youth that's happened? Give me an example of one of your most memorable moments.
Well, I just did a thing at the Bronx Zoo this summer. My organization, Windows of Hip Hop, we contracted with the zoo and put a hip hop program in the zoo, and they called it Boogie Down at the Zoo. First time hip hop was in that setting, and I had a spot called Kaz's Corner. And what I did is I used to they'd set up like a stage for me, and I had my sound system out there, and it'd be like an audience, chairs, like a lawn with chairs set up. And I would have the parents come and bring the kids. I would play music to attract them to come over. They'd come over. And I teach them a little bit about hip-hop, give them a little bit of hip-hop history. And then I would pass out pads and pencils and get them to write a little 4-bar rap about themselves, where they come from, and their favorite animals at the zoo. And you know what I mean? And it's like, it's not a competition. Don't worry about being, none of that. Just do your thing. And a lot of times it'll be younger, really, really younger kids who know hip hop, but, they know the music, you know what I mean? But they're not, so their parents come and they help them, and it's really cool. So we give them about 20 minutes to do that. And then afterwards, everybody come up. And I line them up on the side of the stage, and one by one, I let them come up and do their rap. I put a big gold chain around their neck, a little bling bling for effect for them. And the reaction that I've gotten out of some of those kids, I mean, it's just magic. It's just magic. I've had some. Who was the kid that we had? He was on the autism spectrum. Okay, and he would be there each and every week. He'd be there, and his mom be sitting there, and he would participate each and every week. He would get his little pad, and him and his mom would write, and he would come up and actually do it. And his mom was telling him he never comes out at things like this. He never. So that's just the power of hip hop. And that was just, I saw it right there. I know people like it. They like to dance to it. They like the styles. They like the stars. But, I mean, that is the power of hip-hop.
That is beautiful, man. Now, wait, hold up. So you said you helped some kid write 4 bars, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yo, so, let me just say something. Look, legends and everything. I don't know about you, man, but this is the thing. I love hip-hop, so I got to do it to you. So you want to spit 16? You want to do that?
Acapella?
I mean, just give me an acapella, man. Just
Really?
no Brimstone. No, Brimstone's the illest beatbox.
The illest.
Acapulco.
You wanna freestyle?
Yo, give me
You got the
16.
beatbox?
You wanna freestyle?
Yeah. Hold on.
All right, that's cool right there. They want me to do a little freestyle, but check this out. My style ain't free. I write and get paid for it. My title's Grandmaster. I rhyme and DJ'd for it. Cats tried to battle me, lost and got slayed for it. There's no downfall in sight, though people prayed for it. I've been in trenches, duck monkey wrenches, but I'ma keep pulling wenches way after I got dentures. Like great adventures. All jokes aside, I keep them screaming like the Batman ride. I got flows like spring water. Deer Park to Avion, a G and a lover. Put them together, call me Savion. I'm gravy on tracks, beats and acapellas. And I ain't Jay-Z, but Rockefeller.
That is dope. Yes, man, yes.
You know, I'm
Round of
gonna be
applause,
totally
man. That is
honest
so
with you.
ill.
I'm usually never like starstruck or nervous. And I called George before the show,
Listen.
and I was like, I feel sick. I think I'm gonna throw up. I don't know if I can do this. This is like I have to pinch myself to make sure that this is happening.
And the thing, I gotta give a lot of love to her, man. It's mainly because it's not for anything like, oh my God, it's you are who you are. It's your contribution to the culture. I mean, we believe.
Like I'm gonna
this.
cry right now.
I knew it.
I get it. I mean, I get
but
it.
This is the thing. Like that's the thing. Like that's the power of the culture that you guys spawned from. You know what I mean? You guys were there at the very beginning. And I think for us, it's the most amazing thing that Brimstone brought. You know, he mentioned that you guys were in town, and yes, have you on board. You know, and with all the positivity that him and his organization is bringing to the forefront, and then hearing that you both doing this in different parts, you know, your own worlds. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing. I mean, what's the most impressive thing as students come back to show you?
A fruitful career. You know, that's one of them. I taught for many years at after-school programs. I worked for the Sports and Arts and Schools Foundation in New York. You know, El Puente, The Door, you name it. I was juggling, you know, grassroots stuff, you know, and dealing directly with the youth and all of that. And then somewhere along the way, I transitioned into the universities, you know, started teaching at NYU. It's going to be my 20th year as an adjunct teaching there. I just taught the spring semester at Manhattanville College in New York as well. I was a visiting scholar at Cornell. So the thing is this, you know, I'm not saying all that to like blow smoke up my own, you know what. I'm just saying like we better do that. We better invade as many platforms as we can. You know, this thing we call hip hop here, honestly, this is saving lives. This is uniting people, uplifting people. It's like one of the most effective ways to gain self-empowerment, self-discipline. You know, I didn't go to a school to learn how to pop or lock or up rock. I was in the streets, man. And then after you either meet someone that teaches you something, and half the time they didn't want to teach you. That's how it was in the streets. They were like, nah, you might get nicer than me. That's how heavy the competition was, right? Yeah. You know, so finding a mentor or mentor finding a protege wasn't as easy as you thought, you know, not in those streets. So the thing is that, you know, coming back to Path, you know, like Natalie and Brimstone are doing an amazing, you know, justice and service to the youth here. Today we went to the rehearsal for the first time. I was blown away. I was blown away. I mean, they're covering all the aspects, DJing, like Cass said, you know, different components of the culture. Also the knowledge based on it, you know, and us in Zulu, you know, I served on the Supreme World Council and the World Council in the Universal Zulu Nation in my lifetime. Wow. And even hardcore private, you know, because you got to work your way up to that status, you feel me? You come in, you do your work, and you rock, right? So that has always been our mission in Zulu. And in most organizations, I would dare to say, you know, of course, the mighty Cold Crush Brothers, you know? Yeah. Rocksteady Crew,
Yeah.
You know, all these pillars of hip hop, you know, truly had a purpose, and the main purpose, in fact, I believe, was to unify people, celebrate life, right, and honor our legacy and our heritage. We got this from our ancestors. This isn't new, you know. Yeah, it just gets recycled. Like it sure says, hip hop didn't invent anything. Hip hop reinvented everything. And on that level, guess what? What comes out of that? Tools of war. You feel me? A way to fight for social justice and other things that truly matter. Because you can party and party and
right.
You can party and bullshit.
all right, yeah. You can do that all day, every day. But how about our seeds, man? You know, what's up with the next generation? You feel me? So I'm honored to be here and help. You know, honored to be working with my brother, who's our forever host in Tools of War, you know?
No doubt.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add one thing in terms of this is a public service announcement to all department heads of education. Stop waiting for hip hop people that need diplomas and graduate and have only experienced the culture for 3 or 4 years, or they saw the most recent thing in 2000 and now they're on it. Get the pioneers to teach your classes. Stop bullshitting like the song he just quoted. That's real talk. The real experience is what you gained from your childhood up until now, not what you studied and got. I'm not taking anything away from your diploma, but make sure the cats that help create this art form are the ones going in your schools and teaching these lessons as well.
Preach. Preach. I mean, they teaching hip hop in Harvard, okay? And you know, I'm like, okay, well, who from hip hop is teaching those classes? And like you said, these are people who research hip hop. You learned, they read about this. You know, you studied it, but the people who made it is still here.
Yeah.
What better professor, okay, than the guy who made the thing that you're studying? So, I mean, good look. Thank you for that PSA, man. And I hope these learning institutions really start looking up, because that's where we are in our lives. It's about teaching and giving it back. And you know, some of us, all of us have the experience. All of us have gone through trials and tribulations over these last 40, 45 years as far as the culture of hip-hop is concerned, but all of us ain't still here. And all of us aren't able to articulate the culture to other people. So those of us that are, it's our duty. That's why we're here. You know what I mean? To reach out, to be that bridge, to try to help build that bridge between the generation and today and our generation. It's like 3 generations between us and the kids we saw today.
I would say even more.
It maybe more, you know what I mean?
Culturally, things happen faster.
Right. Yeah. So not as far as like, all right, mom's, dad, grandpa. Right. No, they could be our grandkids. But culturally, they about 4 or 5 generations away from us. Yep. So it's important that we try to bridge those gaps while we're here, or set the example, put into the practice. You know, the pioneers behind us, you know, the Big Daddy Kanes and you know what I mean, the guys that you start looking up to after us, the Run DMCs, you know, the LL Cool J's, to go out there and so, because now y'all the old school. Now y'all first tier old school. Soon as we gone, y'all are the next tier of elders in this community. For a long time, we was the old school.
Well, I have to say,
now, y'all the old school.
You guys definitely own up to that name of Grandmaster. I don't know how big you guys are on like comics, but even in the Marvel world, they're the elders of the universe, and they're here to drop knowledge. So it's so crazy that you guys are sitting here with us today, and that you guys are passing on this knowledge. Thinking about that and tuning into that, did you guys ever think that these names would hold up to this? Did you ever think that hip-hop was going to be what it is today? And were you going to be, you know, in this position to be able to conserve it for us?
Well, I'd like to share this, like Grandmaster, right? Grandmaster Cass, Grandmaster Flash, Grand Wizard Theodore. You know, these names have a sense of royalty, you know, or power. Yeah. And so, you know, Pop Master Fabel, which is a takeoff of, you know, that, you know? So for us, being, you know, the fact that we grew up in neighborhoods that, you know, we were challenged in many ways, socially, politically, economically, what have you. The level of our self-esteem, for some of us at least, you know, was kind of like, wow, you know, do I really matter? So, for instance, when you throw a tag and you put a crown on top of it and king yourself, that's power. That's power. You're making a point to let people know I'm a king or I'm a queen, you know? And the same with our monikers, you know, the names that we choose that have that kind of you know, some people might think self-serving or whatever, but that type of excellence, you know, is not, you know, is something that was mandatory. We had to do that, again, for the sake of self-empowerment. The same way that we sharpened our axe or our sword every day, practicing, him kicking, practicing his rhymes like crazy, me going in the lab and popping and, you know, whatever, because you know you had to battle someone to maintain that crown.
Are you still
To keep
popping,
your-
by the way?
What?
That's what? Hold on.
You just saw him.
No, that ain't nothing. Here's my question. Is water wet?
All right, is sand dry?
Once again, you can come to the show Wednesday night at the Lightbox and find out if he's still popping. Real talk.
Exactly. And let me just piggyback onto what he was saying. Grandmaster, Grand Wizard, Grand whatever. These aren't names. These are titles, and they're levels of excellence. I became a Grandmaster. I'm the first person we heard about in music, in hip-hop, or in DJing circles, was a DJ named Grandmaster Flowers. And Grandmaster Flowers was from Brooklyn. And Grandmaster Flowers, you know, he was during the disco era, which preceded hip-hop. The next Grandmaster, first Grandmaster in hip-hop was Grandmaster Flash. And Grandmaster Flash, well, emulated or got his name or title from Grandmaster Flowers. When Grandmaster Flash started to gain prominence in hip-hop, it was for his speed behind the turntables. The fastest man on 2 turntables, Grandmaster Flash. Because other than that, what made you any grander than anybody else? Your skills on the turntable. So, boom. One night I was DJing in the club, me and my partner, right? And I was cutting up a record, and I was going back and forth, you know, cutting it, catching it. And he was like, faster, faster. And I was started going a little faster. And he was like, faster, faster. And I kept going faster, faster, faster. And he was like, faster. And I kept going faster. And the crowd started going, Grandmaster, Grandmaster. He started going, Grandmaster, Grandmaster. After a while, the whole crowd was like, Grandmaster. From that night on, I was Grandmaster Cass. What? All right, or Grandmaster Casanova Fly, because that was my name back then when I was, you know, a full-fledged DJ and part-time on the microphone. But my name is Kaz. My title is Grandmaster, and it's a level of excellence. You have Grandmasters in chess. You have Grandmasters in tennis. You have Grandmasters in martial arts. And these guys are at the height. They're at the height. You can't go no higher than them. And that's why Grandmaster is so important. And if you take a title like Master, anything with master in it, you better be a master at it. You better be a master at it.
You will get tested. So if I can just piggyback now off of him, the way I got Pop Master, you know, Fabel came from me tagging.
Okay.
Right? And I switched the E and the L because I'm not a fairy tale, you know? So it's all real. So it's Fabel, right? One day, you know, we used to go and wreck the Roxy. We practically lived in there. The Roxy's was the epicenter. You know, nightclub, you know, Wheels of Steel night, Kool Lady Blue. We used to manage Rocksteady, started this thing called Wheels of Steel night at the Roxy, which was a roller skating rink. So, you know, Wiggles, me, a bunch of us would go and just like battle all night long, you know, battle cast, boom. You know, Grand Mixer DST was spinning, Africa Islam, you name it, bam. You know, the whole Zulu tribe, Rocksteady, we were thick up in there, right? Mm-hmm. So I walk in one day, boom, and right away I start jumping on cats. Wow, blakata, let's go. and then homie Kingpin Shaheen from the Infinity Rapids, one of Grand Mixer DXT, formerly known as Grand Mixer DST, who did the scratches on, you know, Rocket, Herbie Hancock's, you know, vit. So Kingpin Shaheem is on the mic. He goes, oh, we got Fable's here. You know, I don't think they used to even say in the house back then, but he said, yeah, the pop master. And that's when I was like, yeah, similar story.
I like this.
Yeah.
That's dope.
And
That's
I
dope.
added pop master before Fable.
That is.
There's a lot of people who I gave names to in hip hop. Like I just said something like just like that, and they kept it and they just ran with it.
Right.
You know what
Should
I
I
mean?
change my name?
Oh.
And what, you know that's
Ronnie is cool. Maybe add some before or after.
Pop Master Brett. No.
and you know that's a very important that's a very important part of hip hop culture is having your name passed on to you from someone that taught you something or from someone that preceded you. That was a very big part of hip hop culture is who you got your name from, how you got it. That's a very important story.
Exactly. Yeah, that is. There's plenty
because
little Kazes and baby Kazes, and you know what I mean.
No, and I mean like the crowd. You earned the name from the crowd.
Yeah, I didn't go around calling myself.
Right.
I'm not self-proclaimed. I never called myself legend. I never called myself Grandmaster. I never called myself nothing. None of these exorbitant names, unless that's what I was. That's what I am.
And I mean, and Fable, the DJ, kind of gave you this name based on your reputation already. So it's like the streets gave you your name. Brimstone, where'd you get your name from?
Yo, that's a long story. We got to save that for another episode. I'll break it down real quick, though. Started out as a graffiti writer. Brim stood for Born and Raised in Miami. Eventually, I found out there was a famous Brim from New York City who was down with BDP. And as soon as Brim, and Tats, yeah, he was in Tats Crew. And as soon as I realized that, I didn't want to be associated with biting, so I added my street name, which was 127 on it. After that, I eventually said, you know what, I'm leaving the graffiti world, and I wanted to get a little deeper into my studies, and a brother of mine who was heavily into the Bible gave me the name Brimstone. And so I meditated on that, and around the same time, the name Brimstone, all of a sudden a TV show came out known as Brimstone sometime in the late 90s. So I said, I can't be that, so Brimstone 127. But to break it down, Brimstone stands for bringing rhythm and multi-sonic turbulent overdoses near an explosion. I get it pop without the pills, crack without the crack, and I get it in without the needle and skin. Can you smell me, lumberjack? From the ceiling to the floor, I go hard into Benjamin Moore. From the floor to the ceiling, I go hard into Sherwin-Williams. And when it comes to spitting, I go hard into Glidden. Brimstone. What it is.
By the way, I don't mean to interrupt, but we do have Will Livesey on our live feed. He is our photographer.
Man, Will is listen, man. You don't know about Will. Let me tell you, Will's a photographer. He's a painter. He does an artist. This dude is legit insane.
Firefighter.
And he's a firefighter. Homie does everything.
Wow.
So I gotta give it to him. He's one of our hosts, but homie's always busy. I know where you're at, bro. Come back. But
what up,
that's
Will?
the thing.
But he says hello to all of you.
So
and
real quick, say what up to Will, guys.
Love is love. Peace, Will.
Peace, brother.
I mean,
respect.
And from what we're doing, you know, he's since he travels a lot and does things, he comes on the show every now and then. So we always shout him out. Appreciate you guys doing that.
I wanted to ask them something.
Absolutely.
Both of you, tell us the importance and maybe like some little juicy story that the public wouldn't know about your involvement in Wild Style and your involvement in B Street, because they are absolutely the two most important hip hop movies of all time. You know. So a little something about that and your role in it.
Well, for me, Wild Style was cool, and Wild Style was pretty much the breakthrough event that kind of solidified other people's interest in what we were doing here in the city. When we see this little white guy coming around, you know what I mean, with Busy B and little Rodney C, and he's looking into, you know, going to parties and jams, and like, well, you know, first we thought he was a cop, of course. You know, but after a while, he showed a genuine interest, like, you know, like he was really interested. And then they started talking about doing movie and stuff, and then eventually the ball got rolling, and we eventually shot the movie Wild Style. Like I said, it just solidified for me, yeah, it's important. This is important to people, and when other people get to see it, they gonna see how dope it is too. You know what I mean? It was kind of like a stamp of approval, like what we doing is movie worthy.
And it's still around today. People
Oh,
still
yeah.
watch that today.
Oh, the 30th anniversary.
35th anniversary of Wild Styles coming up this Thursday in New York City. We're having a 35th anniversary reunion concert for Wild Styles.
Wow, that's amazing, man.
And you want to know what's even more amazing? To this day, every year at the end of the year, we get a check from Wild Style.
Look at that.
It could, listen. It could be $6,
But it's something.
but every year, anything that movie has generated, whatever, gets split up among everybody that was in the movie, and you get whatever it is, whatever residuals, you know what I mean, it is. And it's really not about the money, but the fact that something lasted that long, and the person was conscientious enough to keep, like, look, well, it made this and that, let me give everybody they, you know what I mean?
It's amazing.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Come around these
And that's why we still rock with Charlie Ahern, his wife Jane, I mean, his brother. I mean, it's like a family almost. Now, B Street came afterwards. B Street came pretty much like closely right afterwards, but we weren't in B Street. We weren't in B. Well, my group, the Cold Crush Brothers, because they said we had to audition.
What? Hold on. That was a little moment of... I'm not editing that moment of silence. I'm not going to edit that moment of silence.
Let me say it again. They said we had to audition.
Wait, hold on. Who
Are y'all
said
crazy?
what?
Harry Belafonte and his production crew, whoever, said they was auditioning hip-hop people for a hip-hop movie. And we were too prominent in the culture to audition for something that we done. And we had just done a movie. We had just done Wild Style.
Well, there's an exclusive because I had no idea
No,
about
you know,
that.
they probably thought y'all were actors. That's what it was. They got like
Nah, they didn't know enough about us. They didn't know enough to just say, oh, automatically, we need them. We need them.
Yeah.
You know, we need that. I mean, to not need us or say, well, you guys are already in a movie. Let's get some other people. I can dig that. I can ride with that.
Right.
But to say, come in and audition,
Like,
that was like a slap in the face to us. So we was like, we don't want to audition. We done with that. Go ahead with your movie.
So I could add on, right, regarding B Street.
did you have to audition?
Listen up. You know, Wiggles and I, we were part of Rocksteady. But then we also started dancing. We helped form another crew. Well, the crew actually existed, but we became part of it. Wiggles before me, you know. And then I jumped in. It was called the Magnificent Force, right? Okay. And there were many members along, you know, in the history of it. But ultimately, it wound up being 5, right? Kalima, Cosmic Pop, Kalima Muhammad, who's a cousin of Bambaataa. Fast Break, Icy Ice, was one of the pioneers of power moves. Wow. You know, when cats like jump into a Kurt Thomas flare and start flying around. He created halos, you know, complete pioneer. Cory Montalvo, that's his real name. Mr. Wiggles and myself, us 5. So we went to Berlin and we did the Berlin Jazz Festival. We did the Berlin and the Zurich Jazz Festival in 1983, along with members of the Crash crew, with Mike C. and Daryl C., God bless the dead, the DJ, right? We went out there, did our hip-hop thing, boom, you know, they did the DJing, rhyming, we blew it over the dancing. And Harry Belafonte happened to be in Germany when we were there. He was touring or whatever, and he saw us on TV because it was broadcasted. And he went like this, I want those guys for my film.
I wasn't even born yet.
Yeah. So our manager comes to, you know, when we came back home to New York, she was like, hey, you know, when we were out there X, Y, and Z, he wants you guys, you know, for this film. We were like, all right. You know, what is it about? Oh, about hip hop. Oh, okay. Are they paying us? Yeah. You know, union scale, the whole shebang, right? Mm-hmm. Long story short, we go, you know, I was in the Christmas scene in the front with a pompadour. Mm-hmm. You know, gallo status, right? And, you know, the whole crew, we were in it. I wish they would have showed more because we did crazy solos and all that. But, you know, things happen in the editing room. And by the way, the battle between Rocksteady and New York City Breakers, even though they called them the Bronx Bombers and the B Street, que se yo madre, you know, before what you saw in the film is nothing compared to the battle when they were setting up the cameras. Ooh, you should have saw that. They were at it.
Hold on. Is there footage?
No, there is none.
Anywhere?
Nowhere?
In my memory bank. That's not going to help you right now.
Man, if I could plug you into the Matrix, I would, bro. Just to get that.
I'd probably chop your arms off, but no, I'm kidding. Well, the Matrix, come on, man. I know. You're scaring me now. All right, but the point is this. We did the film, we had a bug out. I'll tell you, man, we were young and wild.
It's crazy.
We were young and super wild. Inquieto, electrico, all over the place, right? Finally, the film didn't come out. Harry Belafonte and his whole production team, whatever, they took us on a B Street tour, right? To promote the film before it came out. So I think we hit Spain, Germany, Italy, and in one of those spots, the south of France, we did the Cannes Film Festival. And we were in competition with Breakin', the movie Breakin'. They were trying to see who draws the fastest. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, we get there, Harry, the Beat Street crew, they brought the Magnificent Force, Rocksteady crew, not New York City Breakers. New York City Breakers, Bambaataa and his crew, the main performers that were featured in that film. We were all there. And for Breaking, they brought Shabadoo and Boogaloo Shrimp, a.k.a. Turbo and Ozone, who I happen to know. But when I saw them there, it was a weird kind of vibe, I won't go there because I love them both still. Okay. But I was like, for real? I thought we were homies, man. I'm not competing. I'm not the producer of this freaking movie. You feel me? Like, come on, man, don't treat me like that. Don't do me like that. So let's move on. We watched the film. We watched
Breaking or B Street?
No, B Street. Okay. We watched B Street, and I'm sitting there, bam, all of us. Man, and at first I was like, oh, cool. And then when I saw where it started going, you know what happens when things slip through the fingers of Hollywood, right? Oh, no. So, man, real talk, bro. When I walked out crying. I walked out crying, and I was a wild, aggressive young cat. I started punching the windows of the cars. Placata, And Bam came and grabbed me. He said, what's going on, dude? What's going on, Fabel? I said, that shit sucked. Yeah. Yo, I'm sorry, man. Yo no tengo pelo en la lengua. I don't have, in other words, I don't hold punches. But let me just say this. Let me say this, and this isn't me now trying to backpedal, because I'm not that type of cat, man. I just freight train through stuff, right? Like, I give Harry Belafonte respect, true respect for his intentions. Wow, this culture is fabulous. Because I respect him as an activist, a singer. You cannot disrespect this man on certain levels. Just he's one of my elders, right? But whoever he included in that production crew, the writers or whatever, made it so carny. You feel me? Mazzola action. You feel me? Like, yo, I was insulted, man. I was like, that would never happen like that there. Not in the hood. Yeah. And so that's where I sit with it. I think it served its purpose to a degree. It helped expose our culture globally and all that. But I think now that people micromanage history and this and that and pick it apart, every freaking molecule, when they look at B Street, I'm the one who has to clean up the mess.
Right.
Harry Belafonte don't come around saying, nah, this wasn't real, like the Warriors. The movie The Warriors, it's the same thing. Number one, the Warriors would have never made it to Brooklyn, to Coney Island.
No.
It's a great movie, though.
Right, but that's what Hollywood does.
Right.
It makes it a great movie because reality ain't that great. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry to pop your bubbles, man, but
you just busted. Like you said.
No, but that's, you know what? It's insane to hear that your expectations, you were in the movie. While you're filming the movie, your expectations were about
Like,
something
wow,
big, you know
we
what
in a
I'm
movie, like this is a movie, and then you see this shit and you be like,
This sucks.
the fuck?
saying? This sucks. No, but I mean, like, you know, and I get the reaction. It's expectation versus reality, and they bubblegum everything in Hollywood.
And also my reaction, my overreacting and hypersensitivity came from my immaturity. I admit it. I was a young, wild kid. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like now, in retrospect, like I should have just stepped to Harry and been like, "Yo, for real, dude? You know, like, can we not put it out yet?
Can we work on it a little more?
Right.
You know, it's so ill, man. It's crazy. That's so
Can we
crazy.
get some of that stuff off the cutting room floor you left there?
Man, you know what? What I would give to get all that footage and just watch it in its entirety without any cuts.
You want to know some footage you missed? Wild Style, the end of Wild Style was shot over. The original last scene in Wild Style, the amphitheater scene, had to be shot over because the sound was terrible. The sound wasn't recorded correctly. I don't know if it was the sound system or the way it was recorded, but when they went back, they had to do it. So they set another date to re-record the final scene, but we couldn't be in it. We had a previous engagement that was paying us more than they was paying us to come back and shoot the final scene of Wild Style, and it was a little different than what the actual scene. I mean, Grandmaster Flash, Furious 5 was there at the first filming. We performed at the first filming, and none of that was in the final filming. So.
And there's no way to get it back?
Listen, there's no digital.
Charlie Ahern may probably have footage, but the sound, like you said, was terrible. And I don't know if he still even has footage because I only see prints here and there of different shots of us. But yeah, I mean, the kind of things that you don't see, like you were saying with B Street, before they started filming. When we shot a basketball scene in Wild Style, man, I was dunking on the car. I was like, did you get that? Did anybody get that? You know what I mean? We're ready to roll. Could you do it again? No, I can't do it again. Come on, man. I thought y'all was filming.
Oh, man. Yo, I mean, that's insane. Yo, I mean, all right, so sticking to the theme of filming, you guys were supposed to come in here filming project. Is that something that you're working on now? What's going on with
So Path is shooting a documentary. We shot our first film the first year of our summer program, which was 2008. It was filmed and directed by Dan Perez. It actually went on to win the Florida Sunshine Filmmakers Award. And he's coming full circle 10 years later to document the program again. And it's very interesting to see what has stayed, what has changed, what has grown. Our desire as Path has always been to bring in the pioneers. And, Fabel, by the grace of the Most High, he's come to, I think it's his third time now, visiting with us and working on programs with us. He's always been such a big supporter, and he's now connecting us, let's get Kaz, let's get Grand Wizard Theodore. He's really working on the ground for us up there in New York, because that's where, not all the pioneers live, but that's where the majority of them are. And we're going for the pioneers that don't really get their shine. Like, not cast after 83, cast before 83, Cold Crush. We have, for example, Grandmaster D of Houdini is a huge supporter of Path. So we really just want to plug in with the pioneers. And our purpose for that is, if the youth understand the foundation of this culture, then they could take it anywhere they desire. But if they don't know the foundation, then everything they're doing is built on the sand. The foundation is not there. It's just going to fall and crumble. So Dan is coming around full circle and shooting the 10-year anniversary, and we're just happy to have these brothers here in the film with us.
That's amazing, man. I'm proud of you guys, man. That's really dope.
I still can't believe this is even happening. Like, can you seriously pinch me?
No.
Kaz got it.
Oh, wow, it's real. I got a bruise now. Man, but I got to tell you, having you guys here, I just wish that we had more time, to be quite honest, because an hour flies.
I know.
Flies, and it's so dope. I want you guys to come back. Please feel free to come back anytime you're in town.
Right.
I love the stories, and listen. You pop the bubble about Warriors. That's fine. But it's dope as hell to hear that they wouldn't make it.
Nah.
Yo, that shit would have happened. They would have made it.
Nah.
You know what I mean? But it's so insane to hear behind the scenes, growing up in the culture, being part of the culture, being part of these iconic things. Although it sucked in your eyes because it's not the life that you were living at the time.
Part of it did. Part of it did.
But
not the whole thing. There was exciting moments. Yeah.
For it to leave that impression on you, and seeing that's how it affected you, but look how it's affected, and it's pretty much.
It kind of served its purpose.
It's inspired so many, and I bet you most of these cats popping you're jacking your style first. They're mimicking you first because they see you there. Although young you is hating life, yo, this is not my life. This is not real, but. Man, it's inspired so
I wasn't
many.
hating life. I was hating the depiction of my life.
Yeah, the depiction of life. That's what I'm saying.
Let's get it right.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, it's great to see that you guys have, you guys are walking on the foundation you've helped build. You know what I mean? So I praise you guys for that. Well, I hate to make my bad.
Thank you. I think we
all
both.
of you guys.
Yeah,
Neither one of
thank you
us
very
would
much,
change.
man.
I don't think either one of us would change too much.
No.
About good or bad, about how we came up in this culture. You know what I mean? The way we grew up as kids before hip hop came about, helped to shape us moving towards hip hop in the first place. You know what I mean? Fabel's more on the line between, hey, if I wasn't doing this, I'd be a menace. Okay, he's a little closer to that line than me.
Gangster status. Yeah.
But we came from that.
No.
If we didn't gravitate towards something positive, there wasn't much left. There wasn't much left to do. You know what I mean? And the people who aren't around or aren't doing things, there are some who kind of eclipse their circumstances, but most haven't. Everybody ain't still here. Everybody ain't still viable like this. You know what I mean? So, and it's because of those choices and that we stuck with. Things have happened that could have said, yo, I'm done with this. I ain't doing this no more. This ain't going, you know what I mean? Nobody encouraged us to do hip hop. Nobody encouraged us. Everybody was like, what's that? What's that bullshit y'all doing? You ain't going to get my mother, my family. You ain't going to get nowhere doing that. Why you spinning on the floor? Why you messing up your clothes? Why you scratching my record, my knee? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Facts.
You know what I mean? All those things were like, why? What's wrong? What, you know what I mean? But for you to keep constantly going against that grain, going against that, you know what I mean? Well, I'm gonna do it anyway because I love it, and me and my men love it, and we gonna do this regardless. And it's that drive and that, you know what I mean? That regardless of whatever happened, you know what happened with the Sugar Hill thing with me and Big Bang Hank and all that. You know what I mean? That was enough for me to stop and never want to ever be involved in rap or hip hop again. You know what I mean? We talking millions of dollars. My life would have been way different from now. Shoot. You know what I mean? But it wasn't about that.
I'm sorry.
It wasn't about that.
Because you would not.
I agree.
It was not about that. It wasn't about that. There would be no Grandmaster Caz right now. I would have quit. I would have been a civilian, a pedestrian in life.
Right. Well, it's a cultural imperative. You know what I mean? Like Caz, myself, and that's quite a few of us, man. We're soldiers of this culture, you know, and guardians of it. And regardless of, the good, bad, and the ugly. You know, like shit, if we don't hold it down, who is? Who's going to hold the weight? You know what I mean?
Well, we hope to hold it down.
We try.
Because we definitely want to preserve the legacy that you guys have worked so hard to build. And personally, this is like a dream come true for me and George because we're so submerged.
She's gonna cry later.
I really am going to cry.
Tito, pass me a tissue.
But seriously, this is such a big moment, and I think with everything that's happening in the world today, hip-hop more than ever is needed in our youth, in our communities. So what you guys are doing, I don't even have words to thank you and to show my appreciation, but anything that we can do to help Path and to help you guys preserve this culture, that's what we're here for. So you guys are definitely welcome here absolutely anytime. And if there's anything that we can do to help you guys, let us know. Before we go, I don't know if you guys have any additional shout-outs, if you guys have any additional information that you want to give out. I'm sure that there's listeners out there that may want to get involved with this movement. So please let everybody know where they can find you, where they can contact you, and all that good stuff.
Okay, well, you round it out, all right? Give them all the information about the event. I'm Grandmaster Kaz. On my social media, I mean, if you just want to holler direct, I'm on Facebook under Kaz Brown, Instagram, The Real Grandmaster Kaz, and on Twitter as Grandmaster Kaz. I have a website, grandmasterkaz.com, which my wife pretty much governs for me. And Windows of Hip Hop, like I said, our hip hop organization. We have a website as well. The Tools of War, well, you know, we're synonymous pretty much. And what else? Like I said, the DC, the Kennedy Center in DC. I'm really about to do something really important over there. So you can just look forward to an announcement about something really big happening. All right, at the Kennedy Center.
For me, it's on Facebook. I have two of them, Podmaster Fabel. Fabel is spelled Fabel. Again, as I mentioned, I'm not a fairy tale. Fabel. Also, I have Jorge Fabel Pabon, Pabon, but that one I'm up to my limit with. You know, Facebook only gives you 5,000. On Instagram, Instagram, you know, countless amount of friends or whatever. It's Podmaster Fable as well, Podmaster Fabel. On Twitter, it's Podmaster Fabel. Tools of War, you know, grassroots hip hop on Facebook and all of the social medias. I have to shout out my ex-wife, Christy Z, because
no doubt.
Yeah, we both, you know, started these park jams 15 years ago, and we're not together married anymore, but we're still best friends. And we never had kids, but Tools of War is our kid, and we have joint custody. So that's how that goes. And I will be on the New York Times online report regarding this Wild South thing. They interviewed me, they interviewed me and filmed me dancing on the amphitheater where it was filmed. That's going to be on Wednesday. What? So you might want to plug into, you know, the New York Times is online.
Heck yeah, we got to check that out.
Yeah, newspaper. And I am about to split to Europe for 2 months. So if you want to book Podmaster Fable.
Hey, that's right.
That's right.
Plug. Right. I'm saying. Dance workshops, urban stylized lettering workshops, lecture demonstrations, you name it. I can screen my film, Apache Line from Gangs to Hip Hop, that I'm trying to finish. There's a lot. I offer a whole lot. So holla at me.
Love it.
Yes. Brimstone, you got anything to shout out, man?
Yes, you can find out more information about Path at pathtohiphop.org. That's PATHTO hiphop.org. You can also follow us at Path to Hip Hop, the same way it's spelled, PATHTOHIPHOP. That is on Instagram and I don't know what's the name of the other, Twitter. So that's what it is. No doubt. I'm not involved with the social media thing. And so.
You know the thing the president stays on?
Yeah, that thing.
That's a whole different show, guys.
That's why
Wait, hold on. I got one question for you guys. I got one more question.
Oh, Twitter, yeah.
Anyone that you're feeling the most as artist-wise, who you feeling right now?
Who's on your playlist?
Who's on your playlist right now? Top playlist right now you can hear over and over right now.
Agreed.
I don't listen to artists, I listen to songs.
Ooh, what's your favorite song right now?
Boot Up.
Boot Up?
All right.
Because I'm too critical of hip-hop, of what's supposed to be hip-hop music or rap music. So I stopped, you know, and just, okay, that's a nice one. That's my song. So, that Boot Up. Boot Up. Boot Up, that's my boo right there. I'm booed up, so, you know what I mean?
Podmaster Fable, what are you rocking to, man?
I listen to all kinds of music, not just hip-hop. I'm into hardcore punk, you know, New York hardcore.
Word?
Yeah. Yep. And so I just came out in a video music video for Madball.
Okay.
Freddie Madball, who's the younger brother of Roger Moret, who's the singer for Agnostic Front. For those who know about New York hardcore.
I've heard of Agnostic Front.
Yeah, so I came out in their newest music video, and I love their whole new album. Their whole new album is bananas. So if you ask me, it's not just gonna be hip hop, associated. And then plus, like, someone told me that Drake hollered my name. Not that I'm in, no disrespect. I don't listen to the radio, brother. I have a few thousand records at home, and a lot of them I haven't heard yet. So I'm busy listening to them things to find breaks in them. So when I play, I'm preoccupied. So I don't listen to the radio. But yeah, side note, someone told me that he says, hit tangles like Fabel or whatever, Like several people already told me. I forgot the name of the song. But I'm waiting for Wu-Tang to come back with a big hammer and just smash it all up. You feel me? Like, because those cats, I feel, resurrected something that was dead.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Not to end this show, man, but it's been an incredible show. An hour is not long enough for us.
Episode 19.
Episode 19, boy.
It is.
We're really excited about this. Thank you very much for coming out. We really do appreciate you. Shoot, we feel honored in a way to have you guys here. You know what I mean?
Right, I'm holding back tears just because
She's gonna cry. I mean, but hold up, hey, Brownie, you wanna spit 16?
No, I don't want to spit 16, but I do want to learn how to pop. So.
Okay, we can get that in.
And you have private lessons.
Hey,
I do.
There you go. Thank you very much for listening to 305 Radio. This is George, 305 Magazine, all your social media.
And this is Dre Mob. You can catch me on the gram at 305_Brownie.
And thank you for listening. I mean, man, you gotta spit 16 one of these days.
We will.
Thank you for listening. Hasta la pasta. Peace.